right. Sober October interview number 4. This is Mary Money. Mary, if you could introduce us, tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, where you live, where you grew up.
Well, I'm Mary Money. I live here in Fairfield, Connecticut, and I grew up just about 3 miles from where I'm sitting in Black Rock, which is a section of Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Cool. That's where I'm staying right now, actually. So
Yeah.
I know
Black Rock?
Yeah, Black Rock. I love that place. Great music scene. At least right now. I don't know.
It's a great place to grow up. Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you do for work, and you're an Ironman athlete. I think that's important to know. So we definitely want to get into how you treat your body, what you do in terms of health regimens, and kind of dive deeper into something you can say about sobriety and cutting out of, any number of substances that might be considered harmful to the body.
Okay. Well, you just asked a lot of questions.
So let's start with just tell us about yourself.
All right. So what do I do for a living?
Yeah.
Is I work for a fantastic company, Newman's Own, a company that was by a very famous actor, Paul Newman. And he started a food company, and all of the profits, 100% of the profits, go to charity. And that was a commitment he made when he started the company, and we're still going strong, selling pasta sauce, salad dressing, frozen pizzas, and many, many more really good products. So we're dedicated to high quality products, but we really try to make as much profit as possible so we can give it all away to charity.
Sure, that's fantastic.
And since the company started, we've given almost $600 million to charity.
You want to say something about Perry's?
We'll introduce the dog the next time
When
he
he
comes
comes
around.
around.
Yeah. So that's really what I do for work. Most of my career, I've been involved in the food and beverage industry. All different aspects, but I do have a background in chemical engineering, in nutrition, in food science as well.
All right, so that's all going to be great to touch on today. So,
Sure.
You were a triathlete. You were also a U.S. Eagle. For those of you that don't know, that's the highest tier of professional rugby in the U.S. That's international play. Tell us about, just go over your daily nutrition for us.
Okay. Well, first I'll take a step back. You
Okay.
mentioned the sports that I'm in, and
Sure.
so I've always been involved in some kind of sports. Now, I did grow up in the 60s and the 70s, and the sports that were available for girls and young women were sort of limited. But I was always getting involved, always out there, and always really super competitive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the oldest of 7.
Wow.
And so I always felt, that it was important to kind of be up there.
Yeah.
And I can't tell probably from this video, but I'm a very small person. I'm only 5 feet tall. So I also have kind of that overachiever attitude.
Yes, and it shows in everything you do, I think.
Well, thank you. So, yeah. And so from an early age, I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and we're always playing some kind of sports. And whenever I could, I got involved with something competitive. It wasn't really until, I was also a very competitive swimmer, and I did swim in college. I also played water polo in college, and believe it or not, that brought me into rugby.
Okay,
And
so
rugby
a little bit of the contact, physicality.
Yes, right. It was the first contact sport I had ever played as a young woman, and at that time in the 70s, there were zero opportunities for contact sports. And when I had the taste, playing water polo really kind of got me excited to get involved with starting a rugby team at Tufts University.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how Tufts University.
Because I couldn't play rugby unless there was a team, and there couldn't be a team unless I started it.
So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So you have an extensive background in sports and in nutrition. So can you start to dive into what that means to you, how that's evolved for you?
Well, I feel that that's one of the things that has always given me the edge, or given me part of my edge. I might not be the strongest or the biggest or the toughest person out there, but I can be the fittest person out there. And, what contributes to that, of course, it's a lot of discipline and training, but it really, I always did the best I could with nutrition,
Mm.
and of course it's a learning experience and it's a journey, but I always knew that was going to fuel me and help me. And then I was always very conscious of nutrition. And, I think that really contributed to my health and my level of fitness. So, really was a journey, experimented with a lot of things. I was a vegetarian for a long time. I did discover that probably wasn't the very best regime for me,
Okay.
mostly because I was always hungry.
Quick question, do you know your blood type?
Yeah, I'm a type O.
You are type O, okay.
Yeah.
So I've been asking people about their
Yeah.
blood type and relating to their diet choices. So.
Right, exactly. And that's interesting because when I read that book, Eating for Your Blood Type,
Yeah.
it was right after that I said, hey, maybe I should be starting to eat some meat.
Yeah.
And so that really was a contributing factor to switching over. And I instantly, when as a family, when we started adding meat into our diet, that was really a turning point because I really started feeling much better. And I felt like I could sustain myself better with some good quality protein. And something that, again, a learning experience. Like for all those years, I really thought that being a vegetarian was the way to go, but it really wasn't for me. And I felt so much better pretty much right away. And I was able to, sustain myself and not have to eat all the time and not have to eat like copious quantities of food to keep going. I was able to kind of, have more of a normal regime.
Yeah, that's incredible to know because I know that it does work for some people, the vegetarian diet, and that's not saying that,
It doesn't work for everybody.
No.
For sure. And yeah.
Right. And it even works for some people that are a blood type O. I've got a friend that's been on vegetarian for a few, maybe 6 months or so, and he loves it. He's killing his fitness. He's doing 2-mile runs. He's dropping his times consistently. I haven't asked him about feeling satiated yet, but so far he likes it. It might need to take a little bit more time. You said you were vegetarian for how many years?
Almost 20.
Almost 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you made a switch, and then that
right.
was
And during that time, I was doing some pretty high energy activities, running marathons, doing triathlons. And I did find that if I was really in a high training schedule, for a marathon and such, I couldn't sleep through the night. I'd have to get up in the middle of the night and eat. I was just hungry all the time.
Yeah.
I'd have to go into the kitchen and make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich so I could go back to sleep.
Wow.
So anyway, once I started introducing meat, and it's not just meat. It's high quality meat. It's grass fed. It's really high quality meat or high quality fresh caught fish or wild caught fish. That makes a big difference too.
Yeah, I know that you guys have always been the first people that I knew that were big Trader Joe shoppers. When I was growing up, everything came from Shaw's or Stop and Shop. But you guys are big Trader Joe's, and you focus on the quality of your food, not just the label that's put on it, right? Like not just beef, not just chicken, but quality, homegrown.
And we were into organic, like before you could even buy it anywhere. We were members of a food co-op for a long time where we'd have a monthly delivery and buy produce in bulk with many other families, and we'd split it up, a monthly delivery. Yeah, we did that for years to be, part of a food co-op so we could get quality organic produce and food.
Yeah.
And we did that for a long time until more and more organic food became available.
Yes.
So everybody, here's our pandemic pup. This is Harry.
He's on a raw food.
He's on a raw food diet.
Nice, as he should be.
But so where I am now, to continue the story about the diet, having tried a lot of things, and having had many health challenges along the way, I do try to eat as much organic vegetables, raw as possible. I don't eat much fruit because it's too high in sugar content, and I am zero sugar. So I don't eat fruit.
Okay.
Occasionally I'll eat blueberries.
All right. Why blueberries?
Blueberries, the benefits of blueberries far outweigh the amount of sugar that's in the blue. And berries are generally low in sugar anyway. But, not to say that I don't sort of, fall off that wagon. Like now in the autumn, a really nice crisp apple.
Oh yeah.
I've had 1 or 2 apples, so that's sort of my big cheat. And in the summer, a nice ripe watermelon,
Oh yeah.
so for me, that's like a big splurge, like
Got it.
jumping off the diet. But
Not
for the
a
most part,
ice
I
cream.
eat tons of vegetables, but I do eat animal protein, but I make sure that it's high quality animal protein. And, a couple of things I'm really, really very, very fortunate. One is, well, we can afford to eat high quality food. We can afford to buy organic. We can afford to eat this high quality meat and animal protein. So that's something I'm very grateful for. But the second thing is, I have a wonderful husband who does all the cooking around here.
That's fantastic.
And so, sometimes I say, well, what's your favorite meal? Is whatever he's going to make for me tonight.
Nice.
And, so I'm really grateful for that. I'm very fortunate that I have somebody who's doing all the cooking for me, or most of the cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you like a variety of food. It's not one
Right.
food, like, oh, I really like it.
Well, so a few more
That's
things I'd
steak.
like to expand upon. And so,
Mhm.
so I eat lots of carbs through my vegetables,
Mhm.
but I do not eat like starchy carbs.
Got
I
it.
do not eat any grains. So 0
grains.
grains for me. I don't eat any grains at all. So it's not just gluten-free, it's grain-free. So I
How
don't eat,
long have you been on that?
that's maybe 3 years.
3 years.
So no grains,
Huh.
no beans.
No beans.
Now, beans are a good source of fiber and protein
Yeah.
that agree with many people. One, they don't really agree with me, but 2, they're also, on the other hand, they're high carb as well. And so I don't eat any beans. So for me, it's mostly the vegetables and the protein.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that a lot of people, really haven't taken the time to analyze, I think, yet, is like, what actually works for me,
Right.
Do I like this, even though it's making me nauseous, gaseous, or am I just doing it just to put it in my mouth and taste it? Do I actually like the way that I feel after I eat it?
Right.
So I think that's important. So yeah, sure, beans
Well,
work for a lot of people, but
But
not for you.
there's definitely a win-win if you figure it out and work on it. So things that taste really, really great, and you feel great, and the benefit, there's great benefits. So you could definitely win-win. You don't have to eat, a big pile of tasteless kale and say, oh, I feel good now. There's so many things you can do that really taste good and make you feel good at the same time. So you're not giving up anything.
Okay, so what do you feel best at eating? Give us like a short recipe of something that you like to put together.
Sort of a basic meal that probably Matt and I have almost every day is, big salad with really good fresh vegetables, a wide variety of vegetables, and some kind of protein on it. Like today I had an amazing salad with some really good chicken on top of it.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and another thing to remember, and it's like, I'm going to hold up my hand. So this palm of your hand and the thickness of your palm, that's a serving of protein. That's my serving of protein. That thickness and that much of a piece. Let's see your palm. That's a lot bigger serving for your body, right?
Right.
So that's a rule of thumb from almost everybody. It's your own personal palm.
Yeah.
That's your serving of protein.
Okay, makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good way to put it. Obviously, everybody's gonna be different, and learn it for yourself. But yeah, it's a great way to start. Everybody.
Well, people used to say a
start.
pack of carbs, but a pack of carbs is one size fits all, and I'm way smaller than you. So that, to me, I think that's a much better rule of thumb.
I agree. That makes a lot more sense.
So I have something else to share in terms of diet and what you just said, like something that tastes good.
Bring it on. We want it all.
So I don't eat any sugar,
Mhm.
and I don't eat any grains. So you probably are thinking, well, that's a big sacrifice because I can't have dessert. I can't have a piece of cake. I can't have an apple pie. I can't have, so many regular American desserts I can't have.
Right.
That, my friend, is false, because over the years I have learned a lot of great ways to cook really excellent desserts that don't have any grains, don't have any sugar, and really taste great. In fact, I will share something with you later.
Yeah, absolutely. Send it my way. I'm gonna post it.
But
along
anyway,
with
I
this
have
video.
I've learned some great recipes, and I kind of tweak them and tailor them to make sure I'm just loading them up with really good things. Like I put ground flax seeds in almost everything I bake.
Okay.
But nobody knows, like anybody
Nobody
who
thinks
has a
about
piece
that.
of my chocolate cake has no idea it's loaded with flaxseed.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that for anybody out there that's trying to give up sugar, there's great things that you can do. Now it's a little work because you have to make them yourself. You can't just go, can't even go to Whole Foods and get things like this. But, you know, swapping out almond flour for regular flour. Almond flour is great. It's just ground almonds. So it's high in protein. It's great for you. And anyway, I use that as a basis of a lot of my baking.
Do you put yeast in anything?
I don't because,
You have to feed it sugar.
yeah, I don't put yeast in anything, but I do use, a lot of my recipes get a rise from baking soda and vinegar.
Okay.
But I could give you a site that has good recipes, but then
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to, maybe I could pick out one of my favorite recipes and you could share it with your,
That would be great.
with
You
your
know,
people?
we've got this video is going to go up in a few days. And
Okay, and we could
include all of
attach
those
we'd
with
attach
it.
one of my
Yes,
recipes.
those will be right
Yeah.
there with it.
But like you're going to ask me the question of who do I follow?
Oh yeah.
And there's one woman that I do follow to get some recipes because she's keto, paleo. Her name is Karina, and her website is called Sweet as Honey.
Sweet as honey. And
Right.
okay. All right.
And that's
So
where you can find a lot of good
sweetashoney.com.
recipes. I think so, yeah.
Sweetashoney.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the woman is, her name's Karina, and she just goes by Karina.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So following up on that question, is that the person that you would like to see do a TED Talk or some sort of speech on eating paleo or sugar-free?
I think she would absolutely be terrific. I don't think she has done one, but she, you know, is somebody that posts every day and, you know, has really good, one of the reasons I like the recipes that she comes up with is, there's videos that go along with them. So if you don't know a certain way to do something with an ingredient you're not familiar with, she gives you a video. So it's kind of idiot proof.
Yeah, no, that works. That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's perfect. So
So I use some of her recipes as a starting point,
Yeah.
and then I even like make them even healthier with adding some healthy ingredients on top of what she's already doing.
awesome.
So I'll share one of my
Yeah,
examples of
please.
that.
I
with
would
you.
love to. Let's take it a step back real quick. So you've been on these diets for so long. At any point in switching diets, was there ever any want or any yearning to revert back to something that you'd been eating before because you'd missed it, because you felt like an urge to grab a sweet or something with grain, anything like that?
Well, you know, the way I'm wired, Carl, is I'm a really disciplined person.
Mhm.
So the answer is no. I haven't eaten a potato chip since 1982.
That's a stat right there.
I know. So do I miss potato chips? Yeah, I
Yeah.
can live without them.
Yeah.
But I have like a ridiculous high level of discipline.
Yeah.
But I will say, along the way, I've discovered some really good alternative things.
Mhm.
Like, for example, I gave up chocolate for like, I don't know, 20 years. But now there's really good brands of chocolate out there that are sugar-free. And one of the sweeteners that I do use because it's natural, it's stevia.
Okay.
And there's a brand of chocolate called Lily's. I think that's a high-quality product.
All right.
So now if I feel like having chocolate, well, I can have chocolate because,
You can have it
Yeah.
with stevia, which is
right. So there are some
Right.
alternative things that I've found along the way.
Okay.
But, you know, the answer is no. You know, like going down the street to our local Sunny Days ice cream place.
Yeah.
Nope. You know,
Alright.
I just,
So it's not there for you.
nope.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everybody's going to be able to relate to that.
No,
but,
I
you
know. So that's another thing I'm grateful for, but that's the way I'm wired.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So it's
we
easier for me
appreciate
to
that.
give things up. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you giving us all these tips and all this information about your lifestyle and everything that you do. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Well, I will share that, Carl, I am inspired by you.
Why is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the great things that you're into and all the learning and the discoveries that you've been doing, but, you know, bringing really interesting things to people that really make a difference and really help people to get healthier. So I'm really inspired by you, Carl.
Thank you. I'm glad that you.
And I'm honored that you
well,
that you wanted to interview me.
well, like I said, this family has inspired me thus far. So pay it in turn, I guess. as they say. So that's it. All right. Until the next one.
That was fun.
Good job.